All right, let's have some fun. CT Food Lovers and 203 Local have launched Connecticut Eats Week, CT Eats Week, taking part in that. This man from, I got to tell you, I'm very excited to see Jeff Lizotte again. Go on, I want you to boast, because the restaurant's been open 4 years. Restaurant is?
Present company.
In 4 years in Simsbury, they have changed the landscape. There's not been one person that's left the joint unhappy, right?
If it's that,
the answer was no.
No. Yes, no. The answer is no.
Also to your right, our left, is the CEO of Go Nation, Chaz Tanasi. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
We were talking before the break. I said I was very impressed. Go Nation helps out lots of small businesses, mainly restaurants across not just Connecticut but the nation, right?
Yes, absolutely. We have 600 in restaurants and small businesses across the tri-state and moving west.
Excellent. Well, continued success after a couple years of that.
You.
Back to you. We'll talk about how this all comes together for CT Eats Week, because that's where Go Nation comes in. But we're going to do something. It's Fat Tuesday. That's a big thing in Mardi Gras country, New Orleans.
Yep.
Going to do some beignets, which are a big thing, but we're not at Cafe Du Monde.
Not at Cafe Du Monde. We're at the Fox 61 studios instead, but we're going to bring a little bit of that here.
There's just as much powder, I've been told, so let's see. All right, how do we do? This is an easy donut. It's a light thing to do that you're going to fry up, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It's quite an easy procedure. It's really 4 ingredients: milk, a little water, and some butter.
Okay.
Maybe some sugar if you wanted to make them really sweet. If you wanted to make them savory, you omit the sugar.
Sure.
And all you do with that is you bring that to a boil in a pot and kind of cook the dough inside the pot with the flour. That dough is then transferred. It's a 2-step process.
Right.
So this is where it can kind of get tricky, but it's not. That dough gets transferred to a standing mixer.
Right.
Which then you add the dough to the mixer.
I was wondering, you had the mixer. I was wondering when the KitchenAid was going to come into this.
Right. We're just going to show this as an example. So that dough would go in there, and then you're adding eggs to it one at a time very slowly and incorporate, and that enriches the dough.
Okay.
And that's what gives it its characteristic, fluffy, beautiful, dense, rich flavor.
Because if you've had a beignet, it's not a munchkin. It's not even close.
It's not a munchkin.
It's not. So you've got the dough that's ready to go, and so then you got to, obviously, you want to fry this up.
Exactly. This is what the dough's going to look like. It's almost like a Play-Doh.
You see that?
And all that is flour, a little butter, sugar, milk, and the eggs.
Got it.
I add a little vanilla bean because I like that characteristic flavor.
Could you have fun with it if you wanted to?
We could have a lot of fun. We could add cinnamon to this dough as well. We could add black truffle and Parmesan and make it savory. That's something that we also do at the restaurant.
This is why nobody's ever left Present Company unhappy up in Simsbury.
You got to think of these guys as vehicles for flavor.
There you go.
There's not a lot of people I know.
I've been told I'm a vehicle for flavor. I don't know what that means, but okay.
Everyone loves fried dough.
Yeah.
And this is essentially the fancy French fried dough that you have seen at different cafes. We typically always have some sort of fried dough dessert at the restaurant. Right now we are featuring these beignets. Good. And I'm going to show you how we plate them up too at the restaurant.
Let's talk about how much oil do you have in here right now?
So I have a decent amount. At the restaurant, we'll use an industrial deep fryer.
Sure.
But all I did is I brought about 2 quarts of really nice grapeseed oil.
You're bringing it up to a good boil.
Yep.
And because here's always the trick: how many of the beignets do you want to put in there before to make sure that they're not mixing?
Exactly. You don't want to overdo it. The recovery time for the oil to come back up. I love this copper pot because it retains heat so well.
Right.
So I'm going to add about 5 or 6 beignets at the time and let them fry, and it takes about 2 to 3 minutes. You can't rush this. This is the important part, is it has to be at the right temperature.
Let them dance
so
around.
They're kind of dancing and getting happy. It gives them enough time for the interior to cook through.
All right, while you're watching over those, and don't burn them. Not that you're going to, but just watch them, okay? Let's talk to Chef. Talk about CT Eats Week, because that's a whole new endeavor going on.
Yes, it is. Connecticut Restaurant Association and my company, Go Nation, teamed up with a bunch of popular influencers online to bring the largest statewide Restaurant Week event.
Which I always love, because it gives you an opportunity to try someplace new.
Yeah,
if you haven't been to that place that you want to get, you get a reservation early enough because they fill up. But it's a price fixed meal, right?
No. So what's special about our Restaurant Week is that we're not forcing restaurants to do a prefix.
Okay.
They can do whatever they'd like. So we have burger pop-ups that are happening where restaurants are actually creating 5 burgers just for this one week. We have a pizza pop-up in New Haven, a cast iron chef. We have buy one, get one frees at Alina's Cupcakes in Fairfield. So it's a little bit of everything across the board.
And you've got, and if you've noticed, you mentioned someplace up in Hartford, you mentioned someplace in New Haven, somewhere in Fairfield. CTEatsweek.com will get
160 restaurants.
160. And when does it start and end?
It started yesterday and it ends Sunday.
All right. So, and obviously not for the little pop-ups, but the bigger restaurants, you get those reservations early because they will go. All right.